Okay, so in the last pose, we assessed how you were getting your pelvis to go into this drop and hike, because in walking, this is the motion the pelvis needs to do alongside some other ones which we've talked about previously. So I'm going to show you my first exercise for helping the side that's struggling to start to open up. So I'm using a little half dome. It's just a piece of foam. You can buy these off eBay, super cheap. Or you can just roll up a towel, or you could use a book or a block. A yoga block might be quite high. I would go more for like a thinner book than that. What you're going to do is take 1 foot to one end of the dome. So it's always the opposite end to the leg. So I have my left foot on the right hand end of the dome. And I'm going to take the right foot and put it back for a moment. The foot that's propped up is effectively a going uphill foot. So the heel needs to sit on the floor. Back your foot up until the heel does sit on the floor. And then just check that your foot isn't pointing out or pointing in. We want this really as close to straight as we can. Now, if already you're getting a pretty intense calf stretch, I would be minded to just stop here. If you're getting no calf stretch, before we move on, can you just check for me that you're not someone who likes to push the back of the knee way back behind you? Can you relax your knee joint? Now, if you're kind of there and it's like, no, don't really feel too much, bring the other leg alongside, but keep it that equal distance from the center of the pelvis. Try to make sure this foot is pointing straight ahead. Now, here are the things we want to play with. Bringing your feet into this position, do you get a calf stretch through the leg on the dome? If not, can you let your pelvis tilt forward so the 2 front corner bones are coming forward and down, the pubic bone is moving back? And then take it into the tuck where the pubic bone comes forward and up and these corner bones move back and down. As you go through this forward and back motion, is there a position that suddenly fires up the stretch in the calf? And if there is, can you keep your pelvis there? And then check, do the ribs and the pelvis marry up over each other? If all is well here, we have a calf stretch, the ribs and the pelvis are lined up, the pelvis has found where it needs to be for the calf stretch to happen, and it feels intense, that's where you're going to stay. Otherwise, because I know some of you watching this will have been doing this work with me for a long time, the other leg goes forward. Here's what you guys are going to have to watch. To take that leg further forward, there's no shift out to the side or around the corner. You keep yourself centered up over that ankle to bring the other foot forward. That one is straight. Okay, now you want to check in again that there's no ribs coming through the front door, straight ahead. The pelvis should already be going into a little bit of tuck so that we can open up the front of this hip, and then the calf stretch should kick in. If you know you have a tendency to lock the knee, soften the knee for me, just a hair, to see if that can kick in what you're looking for. So we could totally leave it at this, but we could also play with bending that back knee and seeing whether it has any bendability in it, and then straightening it without shoving the front of the knee to the back of the knee. Let the back knee bend. Doesn't need to be anything major, you're just looking to see, can you bend it? And then can you straighten it without sending the knee all the way back? One more time. Okay, then do exactly the same thing on the other leg. Now you have to come to it with a fresh pair of eyes. Put the foot up. If immediately you're into a calf stretch and both feet are facing forward, job done. You just want to play ribs and pelvis lined up. The next option was to come forward, so 2 feet in line with each other. Then you might want to play with the tuck and the tilt of the pelvis to see, is there a specific place in those ranges of motion that really kicks that calf in for you. And then again, ribs and pelvis marry up. If all is well, then you can take the other leg forward. You know there's no going to the side or round the corner. Then we want to check again, nothing is coming through the door more quickly. And then on the being stretched leg, bend and straighten the knee. And see, can you get any degree of bend out of that knee at all? When you straighten, for those of you that like to over straighten, can you maybe go right into your full range of motion and then come forward out of it till you just feel the joint relax a little? Do that a couple of times. And then once you've done that, go back to standing with the feet equal distance apart and go back and reassess. Now do you feel that you have a more balanced range of motion from one side to the other? So if that's helped you, then we know one of the keys to the problem is holding too much tension in your calf. So that's all I have for you today, but make sure you like or follow or comment to catch up with the other posts that are coming out to help restore your pelvis into a healthy and youthful range of motion.